Good afternoon, everybody. It's Coach Colton here at Columbus Martial Arts. I hope you had an amazing weekend and a great Monday so far. I had some meetings that just got canceled, so I thought I'd take this time to do a little bit of a story time. If you didn't know, we have an upcoming tournament. It's going to be Saturday, November 5th. And we do two in-house tournaments every year. Usually one is in the spring, one's in the fall. And they're exclusively for just our students. And there's a couple of reasons why we do those tournaments. Competition isn't our academy's main focus, but can serve as a great tool for growth and character development and building leadership skills. And that's the main reason we do that. And I wanted to talk really quick today about some of my background in martial arts, how I got into training, and my thoughts on competition and why I think competition is absolutely critical on some level. You don't have to go out and compete every month or anything like that. Twice a year, I think, is just right, actually, for a lot of youth. But why it's so important for students to go through that at least once or twice and understand what's going on there. And by the way, if any of my junior elite, or leadership students are watching, make sure you guys are bringing your sparring gear this week to classes because we're going to start using that stuff. All of my basic core and extreme guys, we don't need any sparring gear or anything like that. You'll notice some changes in the classes. The event is optional for you guys. You can absolutely participate in that. Signups will open up next Monday. And that event is a requirement for all of my elite students. Early skills, a little too young for that, so you don't have to worry. So I started training in martial arts really in 2007. Growing up, my dad wrestled and worked at a weightlifting gym. And then, of course, just being a young guy, I saw Power Rangers and Spider-Man and things like that. So I think it was probably ingrained in my psyche at a young age that that's what men do. You grow up and you fight bad guys and you do good things in the world, right? And then, of course, as I got a little older, matured a little bit more, and I realized that superhero wasn't a full-time job. The closest thing was really martial arts, getting to fight people and do that, and it was fun. And I really became enamored with The Ultimate Fighter. I think it was season 5, and it kind of I watched it. It was a TV show, and it kind of inspired me to start training. And I started training in jiu-jitsu in 2006, 2007, somewhere in there, just barely getting my feet in the water started. And in 2008, I went to watch my first ever jiu-jitsu competition or grappling competition. There were wrestlers and judo guys there and stuff like that too. And it's actually here in Columbus, Georgia, which if you could imagine that, Columbus isn't exactly the hub of martial arts competition. And it was hosted over at Jordan High School. And I remember there was cash prizes for first place and a gi, which is where you wear the uniform like I am, and then no gi, which is where you kind of wear a t-shirt and shorts. And it was $1,000 for in the no gi and $500 in the gi. And my instructor at the time was competing in this martial arts competition. So I thought, great, I would go and I'd watch this and see what it's all about. And I had never seen anything like it. There were so many people packed into this gymnasium. And there were a couple of kids matches, but really it was more adult at that tournament. And I remember that they did the gi first because it wasn't as big of an event. The prize money wasn't as much. And this guy won from Atlanta, kind of this out-of-town guy, and won with absolute certainty. And the no-gi matches came along, and those matches were a little bit more hype, as the kids would say. It was much more contested. The last final match for the $1,000 prize was really, really close, and I think it came down to maybe a judge's decision. I think the match was tied through and through, and it was the same guy who had won the gi competition against this other guy, and they gave the decision against the guy who had won the gi competition. And his whole team that came down from Atlanta, they were very disappointed, and there was some hollering back and forth and that kind of stuff. And I just remember, as a youth, being absolutely enthralled at this, just the entire environment. There was like electricity in the air. It was palpable. You could feel, all the hard work and dedication that everyone had done leading up into the training. and it inspired me to do my first martial arts competition. And I did that in 2009. And I had 3 matches at that tournament. And I actually still have the shirt. The great thing about being 6'5", since back then the shirt still fits, I still have it. I wear it sometimes now when I'm doing yard work and that kind of stuff. The great thing about that tournament was I was really out of my depth. I had never done anything competitive growing up. I didn't do any kind of sports really, no football, no soccer, no baseball. So it was my first time really competing. And being 6'5" and being this build at such a young age, they kind of had to bump me up against people who were around my same size. So I was going against people who were older than me, a little bit more experienced. And I had 3 matches on that day. And I came in with my head held very high. I thought I trained really hard. I'd really prepared and done everything that I could do, and I was just going to crush this tournament. And I came in and I got absolutely demolished. My first match wasn't even close. I got totally destroyed. Second match was a bit closer, but also thoroughly destroyed. And with each loss, my confidence was just getting a little bit lower each time. And I had this kind of sombering realization that I really didn't prepare like I should have for that tournament. I didn't take it as serious. I thought I could just, kind of go through the motions, show up and win, And in my third match, I finally won. And I felt so bad because the one other person in this bracket, like me, probably shouldn't have been in there. And it was kind of just a squash match, so to speak, where I was a lot taller, a lot bigger than those other guys. So I lost my first 2 matches and I won my third, but I really should have won my third. It wasn't really a fair match to start with. And it really lit the fire under me to go and do better next time and to really push through. And I think sometimes we all need that. And one thing I see now as a coach is you really want what's best for every single student on the mat. But sometimes what is best for that student is to put them in, some parents call it tough love situations, right? To put them out there and to experience difficulty. Because sometimes we're just in our own little bubble and we never get out, we never expand, we never take any risk. We, try what's comfortable and nothing beyond that. And parents nowadays, even, starting martial arts, they'll say, oh, I want to check and see if it's something my student's going to like. Or I want to make sure that they're going to be in this for the long term. It's like, well, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing, They might like martial arts, but being in a long term means there's going to be some days that they're not going to like it. There's going to be some days where it's tough. There's some days where they don't pass their stripe test. There's some days they don't make it to that goal. And that's really where the sacrifice comes in and the dedication. And that's what I realized I love so much about that first competition, and what made that electric air and like the hairs stand up on the back of your neck and everything was all the hard work and dedication that went into that. So we use tournaments in the spring and the fall for our students to really teach them valuable lessons. We want to teach them about sportsmanship, how to be a humble winner and how not to be a sore loser. We want to teach them about goal setting and how, it's going to take hard work to get where you want to be. You can't just show up and expect to be handed a gold medal. On the technical side, it really also opens people's eyes. I have some crazy questions sometimes from both youth and parents on the technical side. They'll ask me, well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Or what if this happens? And some of the questions are baffling. Like, this would never happen in a fight. And unless you're ever in a self-defense situation or something simulated like this, you don't know what that feels like. And you might think you have the game plan A to Z and that you know exactly what you're going to do. But as soon as that person tackles you or as soon as that person punches you, that goes out the door. So it's not about, seeing which one of our students is the very best or making, 8 students feel bad and 3 feel good they got first, second, and third. It's really just about setting up an event that's going to test them, put them through some stress, take them out of the comfort zone. Because spoiler alert, even my black belts, even some of my highest students, the people that have think it's a piece of cake, right? Even they, the day of the tournament, get butterflies in their stomach. Even those guys, the day of the tournament, they experience self-doubt. They experience issues with their confidence. They experience issues with their perseverance. It's really a great way to have growth, and you don't have to go in there and compete every week and beat yourself up, but it's an unparalleled amount of time of growth. I really have students that go in there and they absolutely fail, and it's good. It's good that they absolutely fail because it's that eye-opening realization that, oh wow, I thought that this little pond was the whole world, but there's so much more out there. There's so much more that I could be doing. There's so much more that I can learn, and so many different ways that I can improve as a person. And I say it time and time again, that's the black belt mindset. You really want to constantly try and get better at something, whether it's becoming more focused, more organized, eating a better diet, holding yourself accountable. Our word this month is integrity. It really has a lot to do with integrity. But yeah, just a short little story about how I got into martial arts as a young guy, and why I love competition for our youth. And you couldn't ask for a safer environment to do that. Our coaches are the refs. It's here on the mats. You don't have to worry about people from out of town. I know Cobra Kai just came out with a new season. I haven't watched it. I've watched like the first couple episodes from the very first season. You don't have to worry about people trying to injure you or nefarious tactics. You're competing against other people in the class. It's a really fun event. Maybe not fun during your match, but once you're removed from it, it's a very fun thing. And some students do love it also. Don't get me wrong about that. But just wanted to do a quick story time today. Talk about why we do tournaments. If it's piqued your interest and you're in our basic core and extreme class, again, sign-ups will open up next week. It's completely optional for you guys. All my junior, elite, and leadership students, you guys don't have a choice. We've made it a requirement because once you don't have a say, it becomes a lot easier to focus on those goals there. But thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live, give me a hashtag live down in the comments. If you're watching later on, give me a hashtag replay. We'll see you on the mat soon. Bye, everybody.